Welcome to the Infinite Podcast. My name is Carlos Andres Ruiz, and today I am not with my wife, but we do have a special guest. This guest is, first of all, he's a friend, but there's so many layers because he's played for me. We've done projects together. I'm close to his family, and it is such an honor to have this person with us. And for me, he's more than a guest. I think when Infinite Ballers started, he was actually the first player that had a training session with Infinite Ballers, and I'm so excited to dive into some conversations. He's one of the funniest kids I've had. Today I'm actually the guest because he's so good at hosting the space. When we would do virtual sessions, he would be the one that actually brings the energy and gets everybody going, everybody laughing from, I don't know, he was like 13 running the show. But now he is 17 years old and he's here with us on set. And today with us is Luke Chwalek.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And when you were saying that, I realized like how much we've actually been through. From like 2020 quarantine, like I was the first person that we had individual training with, and then we had the what's it called, like the online learning community sessions, and then I ended up playing for you. And,
well, you played for me
before that. Yeah.
So before COVID,
we've been together since so
long. But what's interesting is that although we became really close, the way that I met your family was because I coached your brother.
Yeah, okay, that is true.
And
wow.
My first ever team with the youth club that I was working with, your brother was in it, Landon. And so I worked with him, and so I was friends with Landon and then with your dad. And then I knew of you. I had seen you on the field, and you always stood out with your skill. And then eventually I was in a pretty good level youth team, and you decided to come play with us. But before we get into the dynamic of the conversation, I know who Luke is. Your family knows who Luke is. A lot of the people that we work with knows who Luke is, but maybe people who are listening for the first time or follow our podcast but have never heard of Luke Chwalek. Maybe we got into like, who is Luke Chwalek? Where was Luke born?
Luke was born in Concord, Massachusetts. This question is tough because like who Luke Chwalek is, like there's so many things that come to mind that it's hard for me to like actually make a description of myself because like I know who I am, but in order to articulate it is a whole different story.
When I work with last fall, I was doing a mental performance coaching for a college in their preseason, and we were talking about how what is it that you think yourself as when you wake up in the morning? And so maybe that's when you woke up today, who do you think you were? Like, are you a soccer player? Are you a 17-year-old? Are you, like, when you wake up in the morning, who are you?
Well, the first thing that I think about, when I wake up, especially in the off season, is when should I train today? So I think this morning, I was thinking of myself more as a soccer player because I woke up around 9 a.m. And then I ended up training at 10 a.m.
Okay.
So like immediately from there, it's preparing like how can I have a good session and a good individual training. So it's like I'm trying to eat like a soccer player. I'm trying to get in the right mindset. So like how can I work really hard in the next few hours? So this morning, soccer player.
Are there any times in your day that you are not conscious of being a soccer player?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I actually saw somebody said this, that the best athletes take the best showers, and it sounds like kind of bizarre, but like once I'm done with my training and I get in that shower, it's like all done. Like you wash all the soccer away, and now you're unlocking a new version of yourself, which is you as a person, you as a family member, as a friend. So I think once I get in that shower, to actually come in here, like I'm not really thinking about soccer as much anymore. I'm thinking about how can I contribute,
to the conversation,
to our relationship.
Yeah, I love that. Do you find that to be easy, or there's some times where like because for me at least it's easier articulated than actually done to go in and sometimes like, okay, I have to remove the Infinite Ballers, like, I don't know, the podcast guy, the coach, the guy on social media, all these things, and I just need to be a husband for the rest of the night. Has it been easy for you to go into the shower and come back out as not a soccer player?
Honestly, for me, yes, because I mean, I personally love downtime from the game, but at the same time, like there are always intrusive thoughts where it's like maybe you get caught up in the recruiting process trying to think about where you are, like, oh, but like I don't have any like D1 offers, for example. And then I guess in that regard, sometimes there are intrusive thoughts where like you don't want to be connected to the game, but they come into your mind, so you're forced to think about.
How do you work with that? How do you do you let them come in and you give them some time, or do you try to just?
Honestly, yeah, I let them come in. Like I think it's natural to for your mind to be a little bit concerned and always wanting more. So I just kind of let them come in my mind and then let them pass, because I think it's perfectly healthy. And then just moving on as soon as possible. If I'm watching a show, then I can just like tune my thoughts out and just start watching.
What are some of the things that you do when you're not a soccer player?
I mean, I love watching movies. Like I know that sounds so lazy.
Do you have a favorite movie?
A favorite movie? I actually have a list on my phone of my like top I have like 15 different movies on the list. I
just give me like the top 3.
Okay, I wasn't gonna go through the list, but I would say give me Forrest Gump.
Oh,
have you seen that? It's amazing.
I saw it a while ago.
Yeah, and then recently I watched just like a week ago A Bronx Tale. Have you watched that?
No, I have not.
It's amazing. You should watch it. And
where do I find that one?
I think a Prime Video, but you have to rent it, so it comes with a little price.
Okay.
Third, it's so tough. Who's gonna sneak in this third spot? Maybe give me the Hunger Games series of 4 movies. Yeah. Yeah, I love it so much. Yeah,
okay. And then what about shows? Like, do you prefer movies over shows?
Yeah, I don't really have the attention span to watch a whole show, like a whole season of show.
This feels like a commitment.
Yeah, it's too much of a commitment for me.
I feel the opposite about movies, but on a one time, because the movie takes 90 to 2 hours, and then I'm like, I don't know that I have that.
Really?
But an episode that's 35 minutes.
Okay,
then I can catch that.
I can see what you mean. Well, right now I'm rewatching Stranger Things on Netflix.
Yeah, so many people have recommended that, and
I don't know.
Is it good?
I think it's amazing, but
why
I don't know
if
you would like me. Well, I'm just saying, because it follows like a group of like teenagers, or like even like kids. So like it may be hard for you to like relate a little bit. I know I can definitely relate, because like their childhood was a little bit similar to mine, and like in that sense. But yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about. Let's go back to soccer.
Yeah.
I wanna dive in. Although I hope you showered today, but we're gonna go before you shower into the mind of Luke, the soccer player. Tell us a little bit about what your journey has been like as a soccer player. You're still young. You're still 17. At what age did you start playing soccer?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey. I started when I was 4 years old.
4?
So yeah, it's been long. I think that's usually like a common age to start. But I mean, it's been such a long journey. Like growing up, like I played on like every club there was in Massachusetts, because like one year I'd be here and then I would move to the next club and next club. And actually, since going to, well, we'll get to this later, but the last team I was on was the only team that I ever stayed on for more than
2 years?
More than 1 year. So
more than 1 year.
Yeah.
So all of every year of development you've been in a different team?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Why?
It's been crazy. I think I always I guess I've always been wanting like change in my life. I think it's important that like you can come into a team and then like do what you got to do, like get what you can from it, develop, learn from these new people, and then move on, and then get outside your comfort zone, and then have to work with 20 other new people, and a different coach, having to prove yourself, and also sometimes it just comes down to like maybe this team's closer, like there are those factors too, but like being able to, like I've got to learn from so many different people, like I have so many friends because I've been on so many different teams.
Yeah, you've had so many coaches, and so many teammates, which I think one of the beautiful things about soccer is it almost forces you to interact with different humans, and one of the biggest pillars in our podcast is relational intelligence, and I don't think that when we talk about relational intelligence is necessarily to show that like we know and are the gurus of relational intelligence, but we try to propose moments in life in which we are challenged in how to deal with these things. But soccer in itself, being in a locker room, being with different teammates, coaches, moments in which your teammate is mad or your coach is mad or you're mad at him, that presses you into a degree into you have to consider other people in a way that you wouldn't have to otherwise for a common goal, which at the end of the day is like, can we have the best season possible? Can you think out of your at 4 to 17, that's what 13 years in your 13 years of being a soccer player, what's the first memory that comes to mind if you could share with us?
The first memory
Just
of my
like
entire career?
Maybe not the first memory. Maybe let's go with what is the most joyful memory that comes to you when you think of your 13 years as a soccer player?
Yeah. Wow, that's tough.
The first one that comes. It doesn't matter. All the other ones are going to be okay. Just the one that comes to mind.
Okay. The first thing that came to mind is actually pretty recent. I can't tell you exactly what day it was, but it's kind of irrelevant. It was a scrimmage at Chwalek St. Mary's, the last team I was on. And one thing that I think I learned that our coaches really instilled in us is that if you, as a collective group, as a team, or if you're working for the team, the individual success will come. So that's something that they really instilled in us. And I think one moment for me that was just so joyful and like we really all learned at the like collective time is I think it was just like a scrimmage, like 11v11 scrimmage. So we're playing each other, but like the team that I was on, like we're all like working so hard. And when somebody wins the ball, like we're all like saying, like cheering them on, like let's go, if somebody makes a great tackle. And it was that moment where we're like, wow, like we're all playing for the team and somehow the individual success is on a whole different level. So we're all like so pleased with not only how we're playing, but because we're like absolutely dominating like possession, shots, etc.
Yeah.
It just makes it that much more fun. The fact that everyone is enjoying it. You know what I'm saying?
Do you remember, I don't know, the end of that scrimmage or?
I don't, honestly, but.
Is there a specific moment of that scrimmage that like you can like relive or like just come into mind?
A specific moment? Oh, I'm not gonna lie, no. Because because the thing for me that was just so important was like the fact that we're all playing together that like I can't tell you like a specific moment, which, kind of.
What would you say that team's style of play is like?
Just really like quick passing and like when we come out of the back, it's like I'll check in as like a 6, just so I can pass it back, and then I bring the defender, and then somebody else in behind in a different pocket is now open, and then I run off my man, and then he sets it, and then I'm playing out to the winger. So it's just like very fluid, like we're working off one another, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So a joyful moment is a time when your team synchronized and then the individuals started to play better. Now think of a frustrating moment. Like what has been one of the most frustrating moments in your 13 years as a soccer player?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that's coming to mind is this past spring season. I probably played the least, I think, in my entire career. And I think the most frustrating thing about it is.
Hold on. Were you expecting that, or were you going into it with a different expectation?
Honestly, no. That's the thing. I wasn't expecting it, number one. Number two, I thought I was playing the best football that I personally have played, in my life. And number three, you have to find a balance of like, I'm not starting, but I still want the team to win. And they are winning without me. So it's like finding a balance to like, I can't really be happy with like myself and like how many minutes I'm getting, but I'm incredibly happy for the team because we just got 3 points.
Yeah.
So it was just frustrating trying to figure out finding the balance in between the team success, my success, whether I deserved or not deserved to be starting. So kind of the uncertainty of like what to do and why this is happening, but also just because I love playing, like to be able to express myself into games and to bring energy into the team. Like I love doing that. And when I was limited in that, it was just very frustrating.
At what point in the season did you feel the most frustrated? Because I feel like you talk about how there was expectation walking in, and maybe at the beginning you're like, okay, no, maybe it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
But at what point were you like, damn, like, what's going on?
So I think it was maybe the fourth game of the season. We were playing a team called SC Wave. They're from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I ended up starting that game. And I had like probably one of the best games I had like all year, maybe even from years past too. And I was playing the 6 actually. And I was just playing like 2-touch the whole game, like playing around the other team, like getting it and then passing it. Take the ball, pass the ball, Pep Guardiola. Like seriously, it was good. I remember thinking like, wow, like I really proved myself. Like I really think like from now on I'm gonna maybe even start every game, or at least start half the game, 75%. And I remember the next game I wasn't starting, and if I remember correctly, maybe this was the next game or the game after, there was a college coach, Campbell coach, their school in North Carolina, and I really wanted to go there, and I wasn't starting. So I felt like so disappointed because I felt like I really want to start, and I feel like I've been performing well enough to the point where I prove that I can start, but also because I want to, strengthen my connection with this college coach where I want to go. So, it was tough, and I ended up only getting like maybe like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. So that was like the 4th game you were talking about?
Something like that. It's a little blurry, but maybe 5th, 6th.
How many games do you play in the season?
In the spring season?
Or this past, this past.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, it's something in the ballpark of like 14, 15 games.
Okay. All right. So let's stay in that story. So you have game 4 or 5 where you have a coach that you want to be on the field to perform for, and then that's when you start to see like, hey, like I thought I earned my spot. Walk us through what was the next few weeks like emotionally at training. Did it ever feel like, oh, it's gonna go back up as into like I'm gonna get more time, or did it just stay the same, or did it get worse? I think the reason I asked that is because so many times with social media, I don't think that there's people who post of what's really going on, and you'll post the goals, you'll post the good plays, you'll post the wins, but that's such a false sense of what the journey of a soccer player or just any athlete really is. So it's so good for us to get insight, and even if we don't have answers, it's just so good to walk into a reality of a 17-year-old and walk us through a difficult moment. So let's go back to that game ends and you're frustrated because you only played about 15. How did the rest of that season turn out?
So honestly, it was rough. It was rough. Like I won't lie. Like it was a very low point for me, on the field. But basically, from then on, it felt like no matter what I did, I wasn't going to start. So then at that point, if you're in that mentality, it's really easy to, like, let your training go, like, let your quality go down in training, where it's like, I'm about a 1v1 defend this guy, but, like, if I beat him, like, if I put in a great tackle, I'm not going to start. If I let him go by me, I'm not going to start. That's, a really bad mentality to have, but that's what I was thinking. So it's like, it's really easy to let your level go down, and at that point it's like dangerous because you're harming your development a little bit, but like if you're not giving everything. So it just felt tough because when I played great in training, because there were times where like if we had a scrimmage, like my coach would tell me like you were the best player on the field today, and then it's like, well, I'm not starting this weekend. So it's like,
so you would hear that in this past season, and then still not start. Did you know why you were not starting? Did you ever ask, or why do you think?
Yeah, I did get some feedback. I believe the coach's reasoning, which first of all I want to just say, like, if a coach doesn't believe that I can't make a better impact than other players, then I think he has every right to not play me, because at the end of the day, he is trying to win, and if he doesn't think I will have the best chances of helping the team win, then he's entitled to not put me in the starting lineup. Like, it's a game of opinions. That's fine. But the feedback that I got was like I don't cover enough ground, perhaps, like from like the box to box. Like I don't think he thought that I was like, I just was maybe missing a little bit of an X factor. Like I'm everywhere, whereas like that's not exactly my game. Like my game is picking my moments. You know what I'm saying? So.
Did he mean that defensively or attacking or both?
I think defensively. I think so.
Okay. Yeah. And then what do you feel like there was anything that you could do to improve that, or did you feel like, shit, this is something that I can't really fix?
Honestly, yes, because, well, first of all, I just wouldn't feel right for me to say like no, like I couldn't have improved it, because I think there is always space to do more.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. There's always room for improvement. Like I know that's cliche, but it really is
Yeah.
true. So I think if my fitness was a little bit better, if I had worked harder in training, you're preparing your body better for the games. So I think if I just ran a little bit harder, if I never took a rep off in training, I think I'd be better prepared and be able to run more. Essentially, is what I'm trying to get at. So I think maybe in like that sense, like my how do you say, like fitness was maybe lacking a little bit.
Okay.
Like just a tiny bit.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I wanted, like it was good, but if it was great, I think
Yeah.
maybe I could have
would've helped.
fulfilled his expectation.
It's funny that you mentioned the room for. I heard the other day, which was a really good quote. He said that the biggest room in the world is room for improvement,
Yeah.
and that you don't go there, you grow there.
Yeah.
And being able to have this conversation and not just be bitter at the coach, but understand what are these gaps, because I'm under the impression that you might run into similar situations in which these are gaps that I still need to close. It might not be the fitness one, but it might be something else. But it's really powerful to be able to not be resentful at the coach and understand that at the end of the day, he's trying to make the best decision for the team. That's very mature on your end, which I think is something that will translate not just in the sport, but the reality is that life is not fair.
It's not.
It doesn't owe you anything. One thing that I learned about the sport, and I'm very hesitant to sometimes share with players, is that one of the most dangerous things we can do is to fall in love with soccer. And with some of the people that I can fully dive into this conversation, I tell them is like, would you ever go into a romantic relationship with someone who you know can't love you back? And the immediate answer is no.
Of course.
And so anytime that you go into a relationship with something that can't love you back, it becomes an abusive relationship, because you're pouring out so much love and there's no love coming back.
Exactly.
And it's not because it doesn't want to, but the sport doesn't have the capacity. The sport is not a human being. And so unintentionally we run into, as athletes, and speaking from my own journey, you run into a world in which you have created a relationship with an entity that will never love you back. But we confuse our best moments with, oh shit, soccer does love me back. I started, I won a championship, I got recruited. You think that that's the exchange of love coming back, but that's just a result of some of the work that you put in. And then a week later, you could be injured or not starting or cut. And then you're gonna feel like it's the sport that now is not loving me, but the sport has absolutely no feelings. And so the power of understanding that it's very dangerous to fall in love with the game. And when you ask any youth player, like, do you love soccer? And the first thing they'll say is, yes, I love soccer. But I don't know that you can love something that doesn't have the capacity to love you back. And that's one of the most dangerous things. When you look at like case studies of relationships, of abusive relationships, it's like a drug. So I guess it also works in business in the sense that the side of the negotiation that cares less is always in control. And so
that's good.
And
it's really good. Wow.
And so if we're trying to negotiate something and you could care less whether this happens or not, then I'm like, no, please, let's make it happen, right? And so that's the same scenario with soccer. Soccer cares nothing about you, so we become so intoxicated by it, and that's why we go to the soccer field. The soccer field doesn't come to us. We go to practice. Practice doesn't come to us. We go to games. Games don't come to us. And these are all evidence of a very toxic relationship that if we don't step back and identify that, then it can be really unhealthy as we continue to develop and we think that the world or soccer owes us something. Nothing owes us anything, right? And that's when the richness of the humans inside of all these environments come out, because it might have been a horrible season, but there was one person that I knew I could go to. It might have been a horrible soccer career, but there were several coaches or several teammates that are going to outlive my soccer career. But I just point that out because it's moments in here where you can identify that soccer isn't fair, but the reality is like life isn't fair. And being able to know that, okay, if these entities aren't the next call to action is, how do I find the people? Because the only thing that can love you back is people. And so being able to find the coach, the friends, the parent, the girlfriend, the brother, they actually have the capacity to love you back. But that's just a little bit of the point of view that I think would be really healthy for all athletes, not just you, but anybody listening in these moments. Rewind.
Wow, that was powerful. That was good, though.
Do you have anything to comment or share with that?
I'm a little speechless, but no, seriously.
When you say that was powerful, why?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because it's just like a mentality / like way to look at it that I've never heard before, and like to really like analyze like you're loving something that will never have the capacity to love you back and will never love you back is just like, it sounds like, why would you ever do it? So the fact that like so many of us are actually tied into some of these like relationships, it's powerful to look at, and like realizing what's really important at the end of the day is like you said, like the connections and the people that that follow along with it too. So yeah.
And I've created I call it the motivation matrix when I walk into spaces to help with mental performance, and I've created a triangle that it's what and why. And we all have, for example, I like to give the example of the Argentinian national team. Like, the Argentinian national team is like, their what in the World Cup was to win the World Cup. And just about every team has that what when they go into the World Cup. And then you have the why, that's like being in the World Cup and winning the World Cup is the dream of every soccer player from when they are little. But there's something about when you talk about motivation that the who has a disproportionate amount of stimulator. And the who works so well because even if you think about, let's say you think about the worst class, you hate this class, it's the most boring class you've ever taken, but you put your best friend in that class. It changes something about it, you know? And so the who has the power to change the space. And I think, at least in my opinion, in the World Cup, you put Argentina and France. And for me, like, per player, France has significantly more market value players and skillful players. And Argentina's not that they don't have them, but I don't think that player by player, they would start at the biggest clubs. But they had a who. They had a who that if this who won it, his legacy would outpass the totality of the sport. And so in the difficult moments, Argentina was going to have a advantage motivationally in a way in which France may not, because they didn't have a who, you know. And so there's something about a who that disproportionately gives you almost an edge. And I remember, this is the last story I'll tell before we dive into more of your stories, is that when I was I think eighth grade, no, when I was 8 years old, I remember I saw my mom crying in the couch because she got fired. She was pregnant and she was undocumented. And I remember that image really hit me in a way that I didn't understand what was going on enough then, but as I got older, anything that happened to me that was a challenge, I would think back and I'm like, my mom was crying, pregnant, without a job, and never did I miss a meal or did I miss having a home or a place to sleep. And so there's nothing that can happen to me throughout my career that isn't harder than what my mom went through. And if anything, I'm gonna do it for my mom. So a bad game, fuck it, my mom went through worse. I'm losing confidence, it's okay, I'll play without confidence. And so there's something about having mom as a who that triggers a different mentality. And I think it's something that I've been able to use not just in sports, but in everything that I do. Let's go back to this season for Luke Chwalek, and a bit of a difficult season. We stopped at the fact that you were having a difficult time being at your best because you didn't know if your output in a training session would actually translate into playing time. Okay. Then what happened as the season continued?
And then it was just pretty plateau from there. I only ended up starting one more game for the rest of the season, and it was in the most meaningless game of the season too.
Because it was like a bad team or a tournament?
It was the MLS Next Flex tournament in Maryland. And
Flex tournament?
Yeah.
These names kill me.
I know, right? But yeah, so basically, if you win your group, you automatically you get a ticket to the MLS Next playoffs, which are the top 32 teams.
You
in the
just gotta
country.
win your group.
You have to win your group, and there's 3 teams in your group, and 3 other teams in your group, and you play them each one time.
Okay.
So whoever gets on
it,
top,
yeah.
So we ended up losing the first game. We got smacked.
Yeah. By who?
5-0. It was by Orlando City Seminole. They were a really good team.
Yeah.
They were like top 10 in the country at that time.
Okay. How much did you play, or did you not play that game?
I played like 20, 15 minutes maybe. And then the next game we ended up losing to another top 15, top 10 team, but 2-0. And then since we were already eliminated, I ended up starting the third game.
Oh, you were already eliminated when you
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Well, honestly, like I wasn't really looking at it like, oh, like there's no point. Like I was honestly just excited to play because I hadn't started in a little while, so I was excited to just showcase my ability. And my dad actually made the travel all the way from Minnesota. I think he went to Massachusetts. Then he went to Maryland. So,
Damn.
Dad, if you're watching this, thank you for making that drive. It's incredible. He drives everywhere.
Yeah. No wonder he hates traffic.
Yeah, and so he definitely gets more upset than I do, like when I don't start.
I do want to talk about that because
Yeah.
it was coming to mind. You said when we were off camera that honestly my dad gets more upset. How does he show that?
Yeah, no. So
By the way,
Yeah.
the reason that is
Yeah.
because you are his who, and so it makes sense that the who
Yeah.
as the stimulator
Oh, yeah, for
makes
sure.
it so that it comes out stronger. So
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, no. My dad kind of he kind of like keeps track a little bit. Like he told this to me.
He has a spreadsheet or
He
something.
keeps track of like the people who like wrong me,
Uh-huh.
like during my career, like coaches who don't play me. Like not that he like has like an actual sheet, but like
Yeah.
he
I'm
has
like,
a
oh
mental
shit,
note.
when did I not play him?
Yeah. So I just think it's more of a matter of being very protective, and he's an amazing father who has so much belief in me, so much care for me as a person, but so much belief in my ability as a soccer player because he's been able to see my growth.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for him to think like he's developed so much. He's such a great player. Like he's a phenomenal guy. Like why isn't he, you know, getting that like utmost success? So I think it's normal for him to feel that way.
More frustrated.
Yeah. We can deal with it, but for me, it's more about just staying positive and like it's okay for him not to see the bright side of things because he just wants the best for me all the time,
absolutely.
right? But you know, we also see the big pictures, like it's a marathon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just remembering like what it's really about. Like it's not just about like, oh, I'm not starting this game because realistically in 5 years I'm not even gonna remember the games I don't start. I'm not gonna remember any of it. You know, and I've talked to him about that, and he recognizes that, you know, it's a marathon. This game, it's not that important. Like, obviously we're upset, but it's okay.
Yeah, and so he went all over the place to watch the games.
Seriously,
was this the last game of the season? The one that we were just talking about?
It was the no. Wait, why am I blanking? It was the last game of the tournament. It was the second to last game of the season.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had one more after the MLS Next Flex tournament in Maryland.
I hate that.
Yeah,
name.
I know, right? But yeah, it was the last game he got to see me play, and I put in a good shift. I think I played 75 minutes. Yeah, I was happy with the way I played.
What was the score of that game?
We won 3. Oh shoot, what was it? No, it was 4-2.
4-2.
4-2.
Okay, and you feel like you played really well?
Not super well, but yeah, I think I played well. Like I came off the pitch, and I was like, I'm happy with the way I played.
What position did you play?
I was playing the 10.
The 10. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, then you go one more game.
Yeah, that we have one more game where surprisingly, we didn't think we were gonna make playoffs, but this is gonna be hard to explain. But basically, a lot of the teams in our conference qualified to playoffs through the Flex tournament because they won their group in Maryland, right? So that left more opportunities to qualifying through the league because the first, second, third, fourth teams all qualified through
the tournament,
the tournament, and we're like 6th.
Yeah.
So if we win our last game of the season,
you get in.
We get in. We sneak into playoffs. It's crazy. So we're all like really in great spirits, seriously, after the tournament, after previously being disappointed after the first 2 games, because we realized like, wow, like we can still do this. And I didn't end up starting that game again, so I just felt very upset.
Did you feel like you were gonna start? Did you not know at this point? That you just
Honestly,
just a coin toss?
I believe I actually thought I was gonna start.
Okay.
Because I had gotten the least amount of starts on the entire team, and I thought with my previous performances, I mean, I've been thinking this all season, but I really thought that it was enough to start in an important game. Like, I played a good game last game too, so I'm been in good form. And coming off the bench in the the first 2 games in the tournament, I did well too. So I've been in good recent form. But yeah, so I expected to start. I did not start, and we ended up losing.
Talk to me about the moment in which you found out that you were not going to start.
Yeah. So before every game, this was an away trip. It was in Chicago.
Okay.
Playing a team called FC United. So before every away game, we typically hear the lineup either the night before or the morning of, depending on when the game. If the game is in the morning, which I believe was in the afternoon, so we got the starting lineup the night before. And yeah, it's just like you're hearing the lineup, like he's starting to go through the back line. I wasn't in the 6 or 8 role, and then I'm like, wow.
You're like little brother. You're like, oh, maybe the next one, maybe the next one.
Yeah, like maybe the next line, maybe the next line. So I'm not in the 6 or 8 role. So I'm like, all right, so it's a gamble. Maybe I sneak in at the 10, and I'm not in the 10. So at that point, it's like, you can't pout. You just gotta see how much of an impact you can make when you come on the field, and that's really something that me and my dad and I have learned, is that making the most amount of impact that you can when you're on the field is more important than whether you start or not. So
that's good.
Yeah.
And so how much time did you end up playing that game?
Yeah, about 15 minutes, but
50?
15.
15.
15, 20.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, by that time the game was kind of already out of control. Like we were losing by maybe like 2-3 at that point. So yeah, it was just
and then the season finally comes to an end.
Season comes to an end, yeah.
All right.
And from there it's pretty crazy. Just spontaneous things happen after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what?
So right after that game, we come back to Minnesota, Shattuck St. Mary's. And we have final exams, and I haven't studied at all. I have AP exams, final exams, all that stuff, because I'm taking 3 APs: AP Spanish, AP Psychology, and AP English Language.
AP Psychology, that's fun.
Yeah, no, I think you know some stuff about that. Yeah, so I had AP exams, final exams. So my first reaction to getting back is like, all right, I need to do at least decent on some of these. I really wanted to do good on Spanish. That was the only one I truly really studied for. And then once we got all those exams wrapped up, I'm home. And then we have to return in 10 days to come back for the MLS Next showcase / playoffs. We didn't qualify for the playoffs, but we still have a showcase in Nashville, Tennessee that we have to prepare for. But actually at that point, I kind of already mentally decided and talked with my parents, like, I don't really think I want to go back to Shattuck. It's my senior year. Like, I really want an opportunity to be with my mom for one last year before I have to go off to 4 years of college, and then for all I know, I may never live, with her again. So, and also being able to play at the highest level is important to me too. So, not just coming back, without any options, but having a rational decision. I can play on this team, I can go to this school, and having it figured out was a part of it. But yeah, then at that point, I started trialing with different teams: Seacoast, IFA. And Bayside, 3 MLS Next teams. And the first thing, I emailed the IFA coach. He calls me on the phone. He's like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And it's Thursday, and I haven't played in a week. And he's like, do you want to play in some games in a Memorial Day showcase? And I'm like, yes, of course. I mean, obviously, I want to just play. So yeah, I ended up playing 3 games with IFA. I got some good minutes, 40 minutes in every game. We ended up winning 2, tying 1. I thought I did good. I called him on the phone about a few days after. This was just a few days ago. I was like, hi, coach. What do you think? I enjoy playing with the team. Team looks good. And he's like, yeah, we think you did good, but honestly, I think you would fit better with the MLS Next 2 team. And that kind of it made me really nervous, because it's I'm coming home. Well, I plan on coming home, but that's one offer already out the window, so I'm a little bit nervous. And then I tried out for Seacoast. I didn't even hear back from them after training. I still haven't heard back from them.
How were they when you went to train with them?
They were good. They were good. I mean, every MLS Next team that I've played with has great players. Like, there's levels too, of course, but they're all very solid. I thought that was a good team. And then previously, I had tried with Bayside. They said, we need your decision in like 24 hours. And I'm like, there's no way. I can't give you this decision in 24 hours. So they took their offer away. But now I've tried with IFA and Seacoast, and they don't have an offer for me. So I'm like thinking, like, I might have to go back to Shattuck. Like, I don't want to, but I might have no other choice if I want to continue playing at the MLS Next level. But then my mom, I'm so grateful for her because she's like, Luke, like, maybe just reach out to Bayside. My mom and dad, actually. Just reach out to Bayside one more time. Maybe they can return the offer. Like, it hasn't been too long.
Yeah.
So I emailed the coach. I got a response within 30 minutes. They're like,
oh, yeah?
All right, like, if you really want to do this, we need this by today. We need you to register for our team by today. So, yeah, and now here I am. I'm going to be playing at Bayside in Providence, Rhode Island next year. MLS Next. They actually qualified for the playoffs.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, no, they're a good team. They're a good team. So.
Nice.
It's been crazy.
It has been a crazy. And all of that happened in, like, how long? What time frame?
All of that was within, I mean, like, in terms of finding new teams, deciding if I wanted to come back, final exams at Shattuck, was all in the span of, like, 2 weeks.
Wow.
So it's, like, 14 days of, like, at Shattuck, not going back to Shattuck. Oh, I might have to go back to Shattuck. Now I'm already signed with a new team. So.
That's crazy. But I think I don't know if you identify at the moment, but in the long run, having to perform, like, not just all these decisions, but also make sure your school stuff is going, the level of emotional intelligence that you need to have and to be able to continue to deliver, regardless of how you feel, I think is a mechanism that you are exercising, whether you identify it or not. There's still growth inside of that. Before we finish, I would love for you to maybe tell us one or two things that you are really grateful for when you think about Shattuck.
The first thing that comes to mind, you know, and especially when I told my teammates who, you know, I absolutely love, like, they're my brothers, that I wasn't coming back, I realized, like, I was so grateful to have them as my teammates, and more importantly, that I was able to grow with them and learn from them. So the first thing is definitely like the people, being able to learn from that. Being so close with people and living in a dorm with people when you don't really have it all figured out. We're all away from home. We're all like 14, 15, like this is our first time away from home. You really just grow as a collective, and like being able to play and live with the same people is like such a great opportunity. And I was able to, like, one mindset that I had coming into Shattuck, and a lot of people didn't agree with this, but I thought I could learn from every single person on the team. That doesn't matter. I don't care if you're the best, if you're the worst. I think you always will have at least one thing that you can teach me. So going in, I'm always asking people questions. For example, there's this one kid, Detmar Bloom. Every time we win a penalty or anytime there's a penalty in a game, he will like shove people off to take it. Like his confidence. No, seriously, like it's incredible. Like I have so much respect for him, and he's going to Colorado College, which is a great school.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Yeah, he has so much confidence, and you know, I ask people like that, like if I notice certain things, like how do you have so much? How do you find the confidence to take a penalty? You know my record with penalties. It's poor. It's poor. I get on my own.
We can edit all this.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it's really inspiring. So the fact that I was able to learn from so many different people who were so generous in giving me advice and stuff like that was definitely a blessing for sure.
And then what would you say is, did you have one head coach or multiple head coaches there?
One head coach and usually an assistant, but it's kind of a very tight program where you know all the coaches, whether they're under 15s, under 16s coach, or under 19s coach, you know all of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, one head coach.
So, and I don't know if this is easy or not, but what would you identify as your head coach's biggest strength or his biggest attribute?
I would say his ability to push a certain group past what's expected of them. Going into this year, we're a group with like as a team with so much talent and so much individual ability. Like I have never been a part of a team with so much like technical abilities, athleticism, everything combined. Everyone is so good at certain things, and our coach Wisdo, was really good at like making sure that we never let up and like believe in helping us believe in our individual talent. Because I think he recognized early on that we were a great team and that we could achieve great things. So I think he was really good at pushing us in practice and making sure that we are working, as hard as we should be working. So his ability to push us, but also believe in us, I think really helped us throughout the year and get through some tough spots. Yeah.
Cool. I like that. And the last question, this one's the last for real.
Okay.
What is Luke excited about in his upcoming season of life?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm honestly excited about the uncertainty. Usually I would say like I'm very nervous about a new opportunity, but I can say, and this may change, but I can say I don't really know exactly where I'm going to go to school next year. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to play next year. But I'm just very excited to like find out. I'm very curious to figure it out. Like I'm gonna meet a lot of new people. I'm gonna make some great new friends. I'm gonna foster new relationships. So I guess I'm very excited about the uncertainty of like everything next year, because I haven't lived at home in like 4 years. So it's like it's gonna be a nice, relaxing year, but also I'm gonna be working really hard. I'm gonna be very intentional about what I'm gonna do, and I want to just make the right decision. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Our relationship with uncertainty is probably one of the biggest measurements of how good we are within relational intelligence, emotional intelligence, and character development. I think if we have the capacity to face uncertainty with, and it doesn't mean that you don't have fear, you're not scared, but with boldness and with an adventurous point of view, I think that actually unlocks a capacity inside of you that makes you optimize your human potential, not just as an athlete. So I think that's such a powerful thing to take away, and there will be moments where it feels nasty.
Yeah.
Sometimes the uncertainty, it's like when you go on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
The uncertainty of like what's the next turn, or like you're so high up, but when you finish the roller coaster, you're like, let's do it again.
Yeah.
And so I hope for you that every roller coaster ride, when it comes to an end, you're ready for another adventure full of uncertainty, because that's really what life is.
Yeah.
All right, one thing that you would like somebody to take away from this conversation?
I don't like when you put me on the spot like this. One thing, I would just say trusting the process. This is, again, really cliche, I know that, but really understanding what it means, like remembering that life and whatever the audience's goals are, it's not gonna be affected by what happens next week, most likely. So just remembering that if you keep going, keep persisting, I think they're really gonna take off just as people. So just remembering that if one bad thing happens, that it's so much more. The journey's so much more than that, and that you have more time than you think, and just being able to be okay with being in a situation where you're not okay, if that makes sense. So yeah, just being okay with the bad things that are bound to come, and just keep going anyway.
I like that. Luke, it's such an honor to have you, to see you grow from, I think you were 13?
Something like that, 12 even.
12 or 13. Yeah. And you have always been such a great example of relational intelligence, emotional intelligence, and character development. But if I had to pick one that you're so good at, is relational intelligence. And I think that is something that will allow you to succeed in any season of your life. I'm excited for what's coming and all the uncertainty that you will continue to embrace. I'm sure this is not the only time that you're going to join us at the podcast.
I better be invited again. I love it.
We'll see what the data says, the reviews, the comments. But thank you so much for taking your time
Yeah, of
to
course.
spend time with us. Thank you for always keeping me in the loop.
Yeah.
It's an honor. One of the things that for me, a measurement of how good of a coach I am is how often a player calls me or texts me when I'm not coaching them.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, of
And I guess we'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Wait. Let me just say one thing. I love how Mel's smiling over there. Like, I love that when we can have the conversation, I can look at over her, and if we're talking about something wholesome, she's smiling at the conversation. It's good. It's
No,
great.
you got
It's
caught.
great.
You got
Yeah,
caught.
she got caught.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you want a full episode full of principles and real life examples of how to fully make the best out of relational intelligence, emotional intelligence, and character development, this was one of those. Luke, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you.
Always a pleasure, yeah.
All right. See you guys.